Bring on my first guest is Patricia Haley Glass. When I first met her, she wasn't Patricia Haley Glass. She was just Patricia Haley. So
Yes.
she's gotten married since I've seen her. How are you doing,
Hi.
Patricia?
Wow.
Well, you look lovely in your blue and white.
Oh my goodness. So good to see you all.
It
It's
is.
been a minute.
I was telling our audience that I've known you and the next guest, Brian Smith, for many years. I think I known you longer than him because you used to come to our store when we had our brick and mortar, and we started that in 2000. Well, yeah, 2000 was when we had the store from 2000 to 2010, and
Yes,
that was
ma'am.
and when you had a new book out, and you were one of the group of it was a select group of Black women who had launched the Christian fiction genre. It wasn't even a genre before
Right.
you and Victoria Christopher Murray and Michelle Stimpson. She was another early
Hmm.
author in that category. And now it's very broad, and there's lots of authors writing along those
And
lines.
Jackie, and Jacqueline, but we call her Jackie. Jackie Thomas was
Oh yeah,
also in
that's
that
right.
early group.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Right.
Thomas.
Well, I didn't
Yeah.
want to leave anybody out. I couldn't name everybody because there were more.
No, you couldn't. I just remember the ones on our that came with, we did a book together, some of us, but you're right. Those are the early days. And
Oh,
some would say some of the great days.
yeah, they were very good stories. Tell us a little bit about how you got started just writing those kinds of stories.
And it's one of those things where it just happened literally. I have an engineering background, and then I've gone to business school, so I'm really a business person, and I just started writing. And then when I was writing, I didn't think it was like really a book. So I was like writing a story about a couple, and then I was writing. I said, I'm gonna write what I want to read. Not think it's necessarily gonna be a book, but I want to write, clean fiction, with African American characters, modern day stories, some positive, some positivity, regular challenges, everyday challenges, with some positive things. And so it was kind of like, for me, it was kind of like a mesh between Waiting to Exhale and This Present Darkness, one of my favorite Christian fiction books. So a mesh of those kind. And I just wrote what I wanted. And in the end, it had a spiritual twist, but you didn't even realize it until you were way into the story that there was even a spiritual twist to it. So it's
Okay.
just drama. People like drama. That's what they want. That's what I wrote.
Okay. People do, and it's also interesting that the Christian fiction kind of launched the same time the urban fiction. They kind of came to be around the same time with completely different storylines and plots, and um, so they were geared to different audiences. Although some people read both, so different kind of stories for sure.
Yep.
And and that's, thinking about that, that's one of the challenges we've had, over the years, where people want to pinhole
Yes.
people into a specific genre or place. Like, oh, you read this, then you can't read that. Or you write this Christian fiction. People used to ask me, because at that time, really big in the Christian fiction arena, and I was, one of the best-selling authors, the first one to make the Essence best-selling list with Christian fiction book. And so people were like, oh, are you going to write this kind if it has curse words in it? Mine didn't, but if it has curse words, do you think that's Christian fiction? Or if the person isn't saved, do you think that's Christian fiction? I tell people, write what God put on your heart to write. Everybody goes through a process. I wrote what I wrote, but I'm not sitting in the seat of judgment of what should fit in that category. And oftentimes, readers are the ones that decide what goes into a category. I say, you look at people who started writing certain things, and then they evolve into something else. So you don't want to squash or reduce people from letting them have that opportunity, get their book out there in whatever genre it starts out in, but they may evolve into something much more. If you squash that talent and that skill up front, they may never materialize or grow into the 20 other books that they deliver later on in some other genre.
Well, one thing I see about Christian fiction, when you try to put it into a hole, or as you say, try to pinhole it, what happens is there are going to be some people who will never pick up a Christian fiction book. If they know it's Christian fiction, okay, that's not my genre. I'm going to get something else. And they may wind up missing out on a message that they really need. But when you're able to write Christian fiction in a way where it reaches more people, you're going to wind up getting your message out even more. You never know what ministry you're going to wind up enhancing by doing it that way.
So true, Ronnie. You think about the church. When we're in the church, we're all at different places in the Lord, in our religious walk, in our spiritual walk. And God recognizes that. Everybody's not going to be in the same place, but we're all in the same church, right? And so we all have different times where we're going to be at this place spiritually or that place. So for me, what I say is, when I wrote my book, again, I wrote what I wanted to read, not realizing the time that God was leading me to write these particular books. And actually, it has been a pathway for me to really grow on the spiritual side for myself, understand my purpose. Like, I know I'm an encourager. I know that, drawn more to the ministry. But my writing was really just releasing what God had put in me. And for people, it's different books. I don't judge it. Now, there have been times, though, I will say, when people would have me read their books and they'll have me read it, they'll ask me for feedback. Now, I'm not necessarily giving it to them until they ask, but once they do, then it's open. I'm like, okay, so if you really want, who are you targeting with this book? Who do you want to read it? Now, if you want your grandmother to read it, you may have to change some of these things in here. You're going to have to change some things. Or sometimes, are you really conveying the message that you want, and some of the language or some of the scenes? Is that what you really intended? And is there another way to do that? Maybe sometimes people put in there because they think certain language or certain kind of scenes are required to sell a book. When for me, I didn't have to put any sex scenes. I didn't have to put any of the vulgar language, but that was me, and I was still able to sell it. Then I had to really bump up the drama and the writing side to offset any of those kind of things, and it worked for me.
It's funny that you say that. A young lady asked me to edit her book for her, and as I was editing it, it got to a part where, like, I think for 4 chapters straight, there was a different sex scene. And I told her, I said, you may want to hold back on a little bit, because unless you're writing an erotica book, this is a lot of sex in your book. And she came out and told me, well, I wrote it that way because I've seen so many other books that have been written that have a lot of sex in it. So I thought that's what I needed to do.
Yeah, and see, that's why I always say, when people, even when they ask me, what does it take to write a book? I ask, what's the purpose? What do you want to achieve? You may be writing a book, you just want your family and your 5 closest friends to read it. You may be writing it just because it's therapeutic, which I think many books are, when you're writing. Or it may be that you have a certain audience or message you want to get out. Depending on who you want to reach to read the book, you have to determine how much of it, how willing you are to first take feedback, and how willing you are to stretch yourself and write the book in the way that's going to be appropriate to reach the people you're trying to reach with the message that you want, clear, concisely, and entertaining. Yeah, if it's a novel.
Right. Because it doesn't, sex in and of itself is not going to sell a book. It has to have a story.
Right.
It has to have a plot that moves and some characters that the reader can get into. Unless you're writing porn, which I don't know about that.
Listen, I am not an expert on that, so I'm going to leave that alone.
I don't either.
We got the disclaimer, Gwen.
But sex in a story is fine, but just having it out there with no rhyme or reason or whatever, to me, I need a plot. I need some characters I can identify with and relate to. That's what people get into, characters in a book. And they people really can relate to a character to the point where they think they're real. They can imagine them being real. And
I'm guilty.
and it's, when there's a main character, especially that is not likable, it can be challenging for me as a reader, unless the main character is the villain. Like, that's if the villain is driving the story. Normally it's not the villain that's driving, it's normally the protagonist. or the main character that's driving the story. But a compelling character is a compelling character, and it requires development of the character. Meaning, what's their background? How do they think? What do they do for a living? What are their passions? What drives them? Put it all on page one. That should be along the way as you're reading the story. You find out different things. So what is your most recent book, Patricia?
Well, the last couple of books I wrote was with a friend of mine, and we wrote it was Relentless and Redeem, and it was several years ago. And then I taken like really a kind of hiatus from writing, not intentionally, just happened that with pursuing other things and speaking and ministering. So really, I just got back to writing. So we're in the middle. Matter of fact, we're about 2 weeks from finishing up the first draft. I won't say what it is yet, but I'll just say it has a political theme to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So even though as we're looking at the news now, we're hearing certain things like, it's so funny. It's like, just very interesting. But yeah, but wanted to do this for about last, 15 years or so, and just decided in January to do it, and with my friend that I wrote the other 2 books, and it's just coming along. So I'm really excited to be writing again, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it coming out.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking a bit about characters earlier. I wanted to ask, how do you get your inspiration to create your characters?
Sometimes when I start the book, when I first think of the storyline, I have a sense of who the character is going to be. But then there are times when I'm writing the book and a character just evolves. Like there's a person that just pops in and just creates themselves, and they feel a certain role. Throughout in my earlier books, with mine being inspirational or having the spiritual twist, I always had this character, Big Mama, and she would pop into most of my 14 novels had her. At least 11 of them have her pop in, even if it's just on the airplane with riding with one of the other characters. She would pop in with some type of spiritual word or message that was easily, just sewn, woven in without disrupting the dramatic flow of the story. So yeah, my characters just come about, and then once you start writing them, they evolve on you. And to your point, I think it was when you said it about how they become real, or maybe you and Rhonda said it. My Mitchell Family's drama series, Anointed, Betrayed, Unforgiving, and all those. When I wrote those characters, after 7 books, I knew that family so well that when I wrote the 7th one to finish the series out, and I know people want you to write forever with that series, but it was time for them to get on the plane, fly away somewhere, and go. But it's funny because after I was finished with them, I was like, it took me literally, I'm not joking, a couple weeks where it's like, you're grieving, like it's a loss. It's like them. It's like you want to know what they're doing, where are they? And then even have friends who will write and say, when I'm writing certain characters, they'll read the book and say, I'm single. You didn't introduce me to this guy. I'm looking. I'm like, they're not real.
So funny.
The reason why in the beginning of the book it says this is fiction. These people are not real.
But if your readers think they're real, that's a testament to
yes, absolutely,
to good writing. Because I have one novel that's a mystery, and my main character is a very compelling character. He's a journalist, and I'm not good at fiction writing, so I poured it took me 5 years to write my one novel, and I said, okay, this is it. This is my book fiction project. And then when people read it, they kept asking me, I want to know what happened. His name is Lloyd. What happened to Lloyd? What decision did he make? I'm like, okay, y'all do know this guy's not real. So I had to come up with something. So
where's Lloyd?
I'm still trying to wrestle with writing a sequel or finishing. I started it, but finishing it, I'm wrestling with it. Maybe for 2021, I'll do it. Hope.
If you're wrestling, sometimes I know if you're wrestling with it, it's not going the direction that you want, or it should be going in a direction that you don't want to go. That you need to just follow the story.
Well, see, I'm a nonfiction writer, so for me, fiction is a struggle because I have to make up stuff. I have to make up people. I have to make up dialogue. I have to make up things. I'm used to research-based writing where I get the facts and I put it together. And, you know, I might start with a premise, but fiction is completely different. And I love reading good fiction. I love it,
Yeah.
love it, love it.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
what
really
it's
admire
about in
people
the
who can
speech.
keep making up stories.
Yeah.
I
Once you're
really
in it,
admire that.
once you get into it though, it's like it just flows. You know, it's like, you know, these people, it just writes itself, honestly. If you've thought about it and you have a good storyline, and for me, if I've thought about it long enough, have the storyline, do my little outline, then I can literally just write it. I could probably, if I could just be willing to sit down for a straight shot, could write it straight through.
You
And I
think
just know the people.
the whole thing straight through if you just sat down long enough?
If once I do the outline, once I know the storyline and I have the outline, I could do that.
That's
Because
awesome.
even when I'm writing, I do like maybe 2 hours, at the most 2 hours a day, for about 5 weeks. When I'm now, this book is different because the political one had to have more research. You know, wasn't my natural genre.
Yes.
But in the writing the book, I got back to what I knew: the spiritual twist and relationships. So even though it's set into a political scene, I got back to the things that I know. So it allowed me to be able to flow and write it much easier and really pick up the pace on the writing. But in general, when I'm writing my regular novels, I mean, I could literally sit down five, maybe 6 weeks writing 2 hours a day. That's pretty much all I write.
That's awesome. Now we do have a comment from Tony Benitez. She says she's looking forward to reading your next book.
Yay!
And she's sure it's going to be awesome. And then she says she loved Let Sleeping Dogs Lie.
Yay! Tell Tony I said hey. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. So what are you, you talked about no regrets, and you were talking about this being Cancer Awareness Month. So
Yes.
tell us about how No Regrets ties into that.
No Regrets is about Johnny and Karen Clark, and they have this, from the outside, perfect lifestyle. You know, they live well, you know, big house, couple cars, and then 3 kids, really, you know, wonderful kids. And yeah, behind the scenes, they're struggling in their marriage, in their finances. And then on top of that, she gets diagnosed with breast cancer. And so it really deals with, you know, when people hear that, like, oh, I don't want to read that. But the reason why people read, and I think it works, is because it takes the concept of breast cancer and the whole breast cancer awareness, and it you know, bleeds it through the story. But it's woven around a couple that's in a relationship. He's has some indiscretions, you know, they have some regular everyday kind of drama kind of things, and they have a meddling best friend who has her opinion about this and that. Then you have the other friend who's, you know, very stable and, you know, given. So, you know, you have those people who everyday things that people can relate to. And then we think about when somebody gets sick in our family and you're the caregiver, we don't often look at the caregiver, particularly back in the day where you just did it. You just had to take care of the person. Nobody really asked about your feeling, how you're doing, how you're struggling. And we realize now that when you're a caregiver for somebody, particularly as people are getting more baby boomers are older and people are staying at home, there is a lot of, you know, just the mental support and the financial support of the caregiver that we don't think about. So Johnny, the husband, who's supposed to just do it all, doesn't do it all, not well. And so you still have some compassion for him, although you clearly hold him accountable for the indiscretions that he's had. But it's an entertaining, I mean, I'd say a tearjerker. There are times when it's funny, that's times when it's engaging, you can relate. And so, but at the end of the day, it does have the message that, you know, we as women and men want to make sure that we're taking care of our health, we're getting our checkups, we're doing those things that we have to do so that we can be there for our families to the best of our ability.
And this is
and for ourselves.
Awareness Month, and it's great that we're talking about this subject, because I think too many of us still take the attitude that I don't want to get checked because I don't want to know, and if I don't know, I'll be okay. But as soon as I find out, I'm going to feel sick, or this is going to happen, and that's going to happen. So people are still afraid of going to get those checkups, and if they don't realize, if they get checked early enough, that it could probably be cured, or at least
the outcomes are much better when you get. Now, unfortunately, in this age of COVID, people are putting things off because of COVID, and so that's what doctors are saying. There are less people coming in for cancer screenings, and of all types, of cancers, and for other issues like heart disease and diabetes, and it's just a challenging time. But people's bodies talk to them, and they should listen. When your body is talking to you, you have to listen.
And I think the other message for this Breast Cancer Awareness Month too is support among family and friends. You know, encouraging one another to do certain things. But even when people do, you know, have when they're diagnosed, that they have somebody who's there. Like, you know, doesn't mean you got to be there every day for them, but you're just dropping them a note. You're just checking in on them. You just,
Right.
you know, not letting people go through the battle alone. If you can help it, you know, if you can do something. Not carry the entire load, but we can do little things to just encourage people that, you know, I would ask people to consider that, you know, during these times as well. We're reaching out to people. And there's always prayer. There's always prayer too.
Oh,
you can't do nothing else for the person. Just pray for them. Don't tell them you're going to do it unless you're really going to do it.
You're right. You're right. Now, you said something about being in ministry. Was that the case when you were coming to the bookstore and everything? Or is that something fairly recent?
I would say yes and no. Meaning that when I look back, it's always been evolving. I say in the ministry, meaning, you know, I'll speak various places, or I'm just really drawn to, you know, my relationship with the Lord is very important to me now, and it's grown as a result of my writing. He really did use my writing. My writing is really my ministry now. It's a way for me to engage with others and encourage others through that people that I would never normally be able to meet directly, but be able to minister to them. But also ministering, you know, in the church and serving in various ministries in my church, and just being available to people, being able to encourage them through the word, through just regular conversation, you know, and prayer. I'm a prayer warrior, and I believe in prayer. So that has evolved as a result of my writing and seeing where that God really was in the midst of all of this. I thought I was just doing something to pass the time, but He used this to usher me into a stronger spiritual relationship with Him.
Amen. That's a testimony right there.
Amen. He tricked me.
Let us know about how people can find out about your work. How many of your books are still in print? Are they all still in print, or?
I think most of them you can get. I mean, some of them are, you know, very first one came out back in 1998. So the rest of them you can get pretty much online, especially now. Some of my older ones were turned into ebooks, things like that. But I'm on, you know, I have my website, patriciahaley.com. And then also I'm on Facebook, Patricia Haley Glass, which is, and actually I've been married 21 years now. I just changed my name about 10, 11 years ago because I'd already started writing under a name.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you were writing under your maiden name.
Yes, because I'd already started writing. But yep, I've been married to my wonderful husband, Jeffrey, for 21 glorious years. Hallelujah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But yeah, and the books are also on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and No Regrets is on Amazon is reduced to a low price for till the 10th of October, just so people can get it. I just want to get it in people's hands and read it and be encouraged.
Okay, so that's good. So you all can get No Regrets at a reduced price until October 10th, which is Saturday. So go out and get No Regrets by Patricia Haley Glass. And you put the website, and your Facebook is Patricia Haley Glass also as well.
Yes. And we should say 2020 because you'll have this TV show on for years to come, 100 years from now. So we got to say 2020 because they'll be in 2025 saying, where's that book that's on sale till October 10th?
Well, you are right, because every show is saved on our Facebook page. So people watch them. It's been interesting to see the views go up every week afterwards, and people are continually watching the shows that we've done in the past. So when we do plan to be doing this show for the foreseeable future, we'll see. But it has really filled the need, and it's been a lot of fun and enjoyment to just meet new people and introduce them to the readers, and for me to see people that I've met so many people over the years and being
Yeah.
able to have them. I just was telling Rhonda today on Facebook, you know how Facebook has a thing where it shows you your anniversary friendversary of whoever on Facebook.
Yes.
Yes.
And today was Rhonda our 11th anniversary on Facebook, which I did not realize we had been on connected on
I
Facebook
know,
for
that's crazy.
years.
Wow.
And at the
That's
time, we
crazy.
didn't know, but we've gotten to know each other over the years. And who knew we would be hosting an online show?
Who knows, right? You just got to do what you just got to follow the process, and you never know where it's going to lead, right?
You don't. You never know.
That's right.
People are put into your life for a reason.
That's absolutely right. You're right. I agree with that. And you and Miss Gwen, she has stayed relevant. I mean, she has made sure that she has stayed, and people, not everybody did that. And, business, especially in the book arena, have gone, have gone out of business, but you have stayed relevant because you've kept up with the trends, always evolving, and kudos to you, my sister.
Well, thank you. We've always answered our phone. I tell people, we've always answered our phone and email. And because of that, we know where things are going. We know where the trends are. We know what people want. We know what the demand is. So we try to stay relevant, and we hope to continue to do that. Well,
Wonderful.
Patricia,
Thank you so
our time
much.
is up, and we are so excited that you came on the show, and all the best to you in all of your future endeavors.
And I'll be back with my next book. Thank you so much. What an honor being on your show. Take care, Gwen and Rhonda.
Okay, thank you
All right,
so
thank
much.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.